From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
Let's make America great again, together hand in hand. America, united, safe and strong. Give us peace and prosperity, let freedom be our song.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen, and you're listening to For the People on a Monday, February the 13th, 2017. We got a big show lined up for you. And I know I always say it, but it's going to be jam-packed. And if you are a new listener to For the People, we really do cram quite a bit of information, news, analysis, commentary. We got to have some commentary. So we provide that daily with a good dose of common sense. And if that sounds refreshing to you, you're going to enjoy the broadcast. Had a great weekend, my weekend, at least one of the days yesterday. My day of rest is Sunday, and the Florida State Fair, at least, well, thus the state of Florida, it's a big fair. And, of course, it's the State Fair. It's around for about 2 weeks or so, maybe a little longer than that. But, man, plenty of good food. Yeah, and some questionable items that I did not eat, but man, how do they fry Snickers? And then there's a new one besides the fried Snickers. I know it's an old one. You've heard of that, but they fry Pepsi Cola into the oil, and they provide some kind of treat where you eat that after that's fried. I don't think you have to be I guess too health conscientious, for that particular thing. You don't even have to think healthy. Bring yourself maybe a box salad or something like that. But that was not the idea, to eat healthy. I don't think that's the idea of coming to the fair. It takes all the fun out of it anyway. But I enjoyed myself. It was quite busy. Weather was optimum. Could not, it wasn't too cold. It got into the 80s? Yeah, about that. And under a cloudy sky today here in our area. Who is not very happy with the weather is New England right now. Blizzard-like conditions, according to the National Weather Service. A combination of heavy snow, high winds is pelting the region. A meteorologist said that a foot of snow has already fallen on Maine before the current blizzard threat, according to the Weather Channel. And Bangor snow was falling at the rate of 2 inches per hour today. Forecasters are saying that this will be the biggest snowstorm that they've seen thus far this winter, and it is dumping plenty of fresh powder out here, said the Bangor News. It's the Daily News. That's what they call it. Authorities advise that you stay home, naturally. And the news reported that the roof of the Canton Pins Q's bowling alley in Millinock, it collapsed last night because of the weather, and it was the worst damage reported in northern Maine due to the blizzard so far. So it's the second round of blizzard activity coming on the heels of last week's winter storm. Could cause power outages along the East Coast. Noted the Weather Channel's AccuWeather said last week's storm left more than a foot of snow in some of areas of New England, and the storm has the potential to bring 1 to 2 feet of snow to parts of central and northern New England and parts of the maritime province of Canada. And winds are expected in that area 50 miles an hour along with New England coast, creating significant drifting and blowing of snow. With Bangor, high winds were expected to affect Portland, Maine, and Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And the weight of the snow, combined with the fierce howling winds, will be more than enough to bring down trees, limbs, and power lines. And we do have listeners up there in Maine. Be careful. Make sure you got plenty of heat and food, and if you don't need to be out and about, do not do it. Don't you feel jealous? I mean, people come to Florida during this time. Why tough it out up in that condition? I've done it for too many winters, and I've been enjoying Florida since 2001, and you got to just absolutely love it. The Canadian Trudeau is meeting with Trump today. That's the big headline. And he is like 180 degrees, just different. He's Obama style. Him and Obama would have seen eye to eye in so many different aspects of how to, with refugees and security and all this other stuff. So a lot of people are just trying to wonder how in the world this conversation is going to kind of go down. So they're going to participate in this round table discussion, is what they're calling it, about women in the workplace. And Ivanka is going to be there, which is going to be terrific. Trudeau, 45 years old, Trump, age 70. According to a lot of analysis with the pundits, they're saying vastly different outlooks of the world. Trudeau is a liberal who champions free trade and has welcomed 40,000 Syrian refugees. He calls himself a feminist. And his cabinet is 50% women. Trump has few women in his cabinet. And according to Newsmax by Rob Gillis, pointing this fact out, he has taken a protectionist stance on trade and wants to crack down on the inflow of migrants and refugees. Trump's ordered to temporarily halt entry into the U.S. by people from 7 predominantly Muslim nations, which is tied up in court, might come up during his bilateral meeting with Trudeau, but Trudeau is expected to focus on common economic interests. To me, that would be a good idea. And by the way, for all these folks that think that Donald Trump has done something wrong when it comes to invoking Article 2, this Article 2 executive order was something that several presidents have already done, and Obama did it multiple times during his presidency. The mainstream media was nowhere to be found. There was no activist judges saying anything. He was given everything on a silver platter. He could do everything and anything that he wanted to do. He could deport him. He could lock down the borders, whatever Obama wanted to do. And now they're calling, the liberal media is calling Donald Trump your kingship. Is that he's acting like a king, and he's going to be impeached and all this other garbage. And we're going to play some audio. This is from the Morning Joe. You're not going to believe the crap. Joe Scarborough, by the way, one of the hosts there on the broadcast. But this is the hatred. These are the mistruths. These are the things that stoked the fire on MSNBC. They didn't reject Brian Williams after he forged saying that he took fire, an enemy fire, and he was, some kind of martyr or something like that during the war, saying that his helicopter took fire. All of it was BS. They put him at 11 on MSNBC, and the numbers are so bad. And but this is how they get ratings. This is how MSNBC gets their ratings in the morning show. They spew this hatred and this disgust and mistrust and all this other stuff, and they stoke the fires of these loony lefts that subscribe to all this BS. And this is how this went down this morning. Here we go.
Do you feel like you and your staff there that you're in control of events at the White House?
All right. Did you just hear how ugly Scarborough, he puts this out in just that way of how it's put out here? Just listen to the question again one more time. Here we go.
Do you feel like you and your staff there that you're in control of events at the White House?
All right, this was posed to advisor Stephen Miller. All right, Stephen Miller, senior policy advisor to Donald Trump. So this is how he just started it out here. What an interesting way.
Do you feel like you and your staff there that you're in control of events at the White House?
I think to say that we're in control would be a substantial understatement.
All right, isn't that just beautiful? He answered back, an understatement, because of the enormity of the job, the enormity of what is going on in the White House. Obviously, no. How could you feel ultimately in control of anything? Some things a lot of things are out of your control.
We have equal branches of government in this country. The judiciary is not supreme. There's no such thing as judicial supremacy. What the judges did, both at the ninth and at the district level, was to take power for themselves that belonged squarely in the hands of the President of the United States.
Stephen, the three judges say you're flat wrong.
No, the three judges made a broad, overreaching statement. This is an ideological disagreement between those who believe we should have borders and should have controls, and those who believe there should be no borders and no controls. This is a judicial usurpation of power. The end result of this, though, is that our opponents, the media, and the whole world will soon see, as we begin to take further actions, that the powers of the president to protect our country are very substantial and will not be questioned. And
to protect, listen, before they go on, to protect our country. And if it protects our country, it shouldn't be questioned under Article 2. If it comes down to protecting our country from nefarious players. Nobody at MSNBC or NBC or CBS or CNN or any of the news networks have any idea of what intelligence that Donald Trump has or his advisors that are dealing with the national security threats in the threats that Donald Trump found out when Obama had the conversation with Trump about these very things that he was going to have to deal with, and that the intelligence that's not shared openly with the media. Do you think that you've heard every single thing from the media? It doesn't happen that way. I have friends in law enforcement here in the Tampa Bay area, okay, very high up. And, I hear of things. Okay, I can't tell you what they are because they don't end up in the newspaper. And there's a reason for that. Okay, some things just don't because there's ongoing investigations. They don't want to botch something. They don't want to alert somebody because it'll spook somebody and they'll leave and they'll take off. There's so many reasons. Okay, and good thing it's above my pay grade. I don't have to think about these things, but this is what they do day in and day out. And there's certain things that you don't hear about. Just like the immigration of, they botched the thing at the border. They botched this, botched that. Maybe they didn't want to tip people off and let them all go home. Yeah, it's like the enemy. We're going to tell you that we're going to be flying our bombers over Libya or just say Syria today. And we're going to be over there about 2 o'clock. Yeah, so if you're a bad, nefarious, actor, then get out of the area because there's a bomb that's going to have your name on it. So you better get out. We're going to give you plenty of time to do that, so do it. Does that sound familiar? Who did that? Barack Hussein Obama did that for some time. Oh, let's continue this nasty conversation from MSNBC. Gosh, I have to remember that they're actually on the dial. They're just so poor. They're so poor. I think Jerry Springer, by the way, seriously, I think he actually directs the show.
As the president's powers in this area represent the apex of executive authority. We will have unquestioned military strength beyond anything anybody can imagine. We have a president who has done more in 3 weeks than most presidents have done in an entire administration. Saying that we stand with our ally, having the two men appear on camera worldwide to all of planet Earth, was a statement that will be understood very well by North Korea. I'm not going to make a comment on that. I don't have any information on it. I do want to say that Sean Spicer, as always, is 100% correct, and that what he said is true and important, and I agree with it.
So then you are making a comment on it.
I'm not going to make any new comment. It is a fact, and you will not deny it, that there are massive numbers of non-citizens in this country who are registered to vote. That is a scandal. We should stop the presses. That's the story we should be talking about. And I'm prepared to go on any show, anywhere, anytime, and repeat it and say the President of the United States is correct 100%.
See, that should be the story. That should be the big story that this lady that just got arrested for multiple times voting with a phony social security number in multiple platforms, but it has been proven in a lot of jurisdictions that there is thousands of people that have voted illegally in the election. So Donald Trump's not wrong about saying this. Dead people have voted. Illegals have voted. It adds up. And if you do it state by state and then you find out what those actual numbers are, what would the actual vote really be? And you know who those votes were for. Do you think that they voted for Donald Trump? You know they did it for Hillary Rotten Clinton. You know, you couldn't stop going to these Trump rallies and not see the lines that would just go out to the highway.